what are the pros and cons? What do you like about what King of the Table's doing? And what do you like about what East versus West is doing? What could they both do better? And who of those two are your favourite promotions right now?
Well, yeah, so Larry Wheels is sort of behind the King of the Table organisation, him and a few other players in that world, and bringing a big audience based off of his social media following, which is fantastic for the sport of arm wrestling. You know, people that are fans of Larry, and they should be, because he's a great guy. I mean, he's very charismatic, and he's enormously strong, and looks fantastic. And
But soft hands,
well.
I understand.
Very soft hands. Yeah, when I met him, it was like putting my hand into a cloud. It was it was surprisingly soft. And apparently he moisturizes. That's the secret.
Ah, right. Good to know.
Yeah, especially for someone that lifts weights like he does. So
Yeah.
it threw me. I was my next sentence was gone after that. But obviously he's found arm wrestling and become a fan of it, and then decided that he would put some matches together. And obviously he's created the King of the Table, and they've flown in some big names and put on some big events. He must have reached out to a production company and said, "This is what my ideas are. This is how I want you to do it." And they've put on some awesome events. They've said some of the big names. They've had Davin Larratt, they've had John Brasing, and Larry has competed on there several times as well. One of the things that I really liked about what Larry does and did on his very first match, he took on Schoolboy, who is a phenomenal arm wrestler and a world champion currently. And Larry was like, "Well, my first match, I'm going to go against Schoolboy." It's like, well, okay, but the appeal of that, and I really admire the fact that he did this, is, Schoolboy looks like a schoolboy. I mean, he's wearing a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, he's got a backpack, he's got the glasses. He wasn't as humongous as he is now, and he's like 6'6" now or something. But it was the classic David versus Goliath sort of matchup. And Larry very cleverly, whether he chose to identify this or not, from the outsider's perspective, or the audience perspective, they'd be looking at Larry and going, "Well, this guy's probably just going to crush this dude." Like, Larry's like a gorilla, like he's enormous. And then you got a school kid, and obviously Schoolboy is he's a phenomenal arm wrestler, and he comfortably handled Larry on the table. But it was awesome to.
But it was a spectacle,
exactly.
And I guess he brought an element of entertainment to arm wrestling, where he brought this an unknown quantity in himself, who had this amazing physicality, and pitted himself against a technically superior arm wrestler. And but of course it opened up conversations about, can Larry do this? Is he strong enough? He's been practicing with some of the best in the world, but it was a real conversation creator, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was so good for the sport of arm wrestling, and so many new people would have found the sport because of Larry doing that. And they've put on several events. I'm not sure if they've got anything planned at the moment. They probably do. I haven't looked at the schedule because I've been looking at everything AWE. But yeah, then they're not stacking the cards with 30 matches and stuff like that. One of the things that I do like that they're doing quite well is they're just putting on events with maybe 3 matches, maybe 4 matches. And
so they're really going for quality rather than just putting on a 7-hour arm wrestling event.
Yes, and that is a very smart move, because everyone wants to just see Larry, or everyone wants to just see Devin. And then if you're sitting there waiting for 5 hours to see them, and it's like, forget it, I'll just watch it on YouTube tomorrow. So you've got that element there, which I think they've really nailed that. Less is more in that realm. And using that star power. So their production has been good. They have improved event to event. I think when we saw the first one, it looked like it was in a casino.
Yeah, it looked like in a function room or something. Yeah,
there was people sort of wandering through.
This is on their way to doing some people on their phones in the background.
Exactly. Yeah. So those elements, they have changed, and they've identified it, and it just doesn't look so fantastic when we've put in this to air. So they are doing good things. My concern is that, recent footage that I've seen of Larry, he is looking strong, and he is continuing to arm wrestle, and he's actually improved significantly. What I would be concerned with is if Larry loses interest in that sport or in that realm and starts focusing on something else, it might fall away. It might just be all based on.
So your fear is that maybe it's a Larry Wills passion project more so than a standalone organisation that's going to stand the test of time, perhaps.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't see it running to the same degree or with the same verve without Larry.
Well,
behind
maybe
it.
we can get Larry on and he can clarify for us what the future plans for King of the Table might be, or get Jake on, because from what I understand, Jake's been announced again as the King of the Table announcer and commentator. So
Awesome.
maybe we can get a little bit of background information from those chaps.